Welcome back to the still unnamed podcast. With
Podcast that has
us,
yet to be named.
we have Rymar,
Hey.
Wren,
Hey.
Nizmo,
Hey.
and me, Tennessee. Well, I guess we'll start off with what's everyone been up to the last week since we last talked.
Lots and lots of work.
So everyone's just been working.
My kids and my family went to the beach, and I got left at home. But
That was rude.
it's not necessarily. I had to work, and I had to stay home to do so.
Right. Aren't you working from home right now? Couldn't you have taken it to the beach and with the Wi-Fi and all that?
Yeah, the difference between the beach, having my computer there and having it here, is if I had it there, I would just have my laptop. I've got two large screens at my house.
You could have packed the monitors with you, and you got a whole car.
Yeah, but it would have been a lot extra stuff to take with us. So.
True. Plus, with all the actual beach stuff, that would be a little difficult.
I'll be going to the beach soon.
I have no desire for the beach. Like,
no, I don't either. But I have a kid, and the kid wants to go. So
I hate the beach. I'm actually really glad I'm not there. Mind you, I miss my family greatly.
Right. No, see, when I was a kid, I used to like the beach a lot. But now I'm more so into going to places that I've never been before. I've kind of put a stop on it, but I used to be really big into like going to new places every summer. Like I went to Toronto when I turned 18 by myself. I spent a week up in Toronto. One year I went to Chicago for like 3 days, and like another year I think I did New York City. I kind of put a stop on it when I was working on getting the car paid off, but that'll end up coming back around though, I think. My next big trip is after I graduate. I'm gonna go to Iceland, I think, for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm a big homebody, so I like to stay home and around home. But if I do travel, I want it to be someplace that has a rich history that I can kind of learn. An old place. I like going to places where like you look at it and you're like, okay, people walked in the same place like hundreds of years ago. So.
Oh yeah.
That's
like
what
places like that.
I went to England this past summer, and it's so surreal how much history there really is about like land in general. Like where I went to Lincolnshire, which is like a really big prominent city, township, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called in England, and the Lincoln Cathedral used to be what the bombers used to come back from World War II as a landmark to come back and land their planes. Also in Lincoln, they have the Guildhall, I think is what it was called, and it's the oldest building still used for public office purposes in all of England, if I remember correctly. So it's like this old it's not really thatch, but Brandon, you would know what I'm talking about, maybe the rest of you too, but it's got that white plaster with the wood on the outside. But it's got like a modern roof put on it now. But it looks just like that, and they use it for city council meetings and like just regular public, like it's their courthouse pretty much, but it's the oldest still being used facility for that.
Stucco?
No, it's not stucco. I don't know what it's called. It's not thatch either.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, we had to know that for our home certification for insurance, but I've never actually had insurance or home to sell insurance for that before. England's such a great place. Like, have any of you been out of the country before?
Unfortunately, no. You're talking about all these trips and traveling and stuff, and I don't really travel much. I've been to the southeastern U.S., and that's pretty much it.
Well, right now you're at a bridge somewhere.
Yes.
That
I don't know where it is.
That's New York, I believe. I think that's the Brooklyn Bridge,
okay.
maybe.
Well, see, it's still southeastern U.S.
Yeah. Well, New York's northeast, but yeah.
Yeah, but still. Still not very far from me. How's that?
True.
I haven't traveled very far.
Furthest
I
away
think
from
the furthest
is Seattle.
Now, this shirt is from New York because my daughter went with my parents and she bought it for me. But I haven't been. She's been to the Brazilian rainforest. She's been to Puerto Rico and swam with the dolphins. She has been to Hawaii. And of course, all the eastern seaboard, basically. She's been in New York numerous times, Chicago, Las Vegas. She ends up going with my parents on a lot of my dad's business trips because it's really easy for them to get a child ticket And I'm not going to say, hey, she really shouldn't go here or there or whatever. I mean, let her. She's got a passport she likes to try and fill up and everything else. So
that would be the dream, to be able to fill up my passport. I've actually renewed mine, so like they take away your old one and get rid of all those old stamps. But
I actually don't even have a passport because I've never gone out of the country. So I should, but I don't.
It works really good when you need to go to like places and they ask you to bring forms of ID. It's so weird because I bring my passport with me when I ask for that at the DMV. When I got certain licenses, that's what I used, and it was really weird because they just looked at me funny. And for one, my passport actually says I'm born in Iceland on it, so they automatically like get kind of fishy about it because I was born in Iceland.
Were you really? I didn't know that.
I was. Yeah. My father was in the military, and back when Iceland had a NATO base, he was stationed there when I was born. So.
Okay. I did not know that.
Now the NATO base in Iceland is a art gallery, outdoor art gallery. So they got rid of it.
Okay. I think the furthest north that I've been is Pennsylvania, and the farthest west that I've been is Louisiana. So
Louisiana's on my bucket list. I will probably go during Mardi Gras to make the most out of it. But
yeah, I didn't go during Mardi Gras, but even if you
been
don't,
to Louisiana.
Even if you don't, they've got
they're still wild. They drink a lot in Louisiana down in New Orleans.
they have a party or a festival for something literally every weekend. So especially in the summer. So I think when we were down there, it was for the Rice Festival in Crowley, I think it was. It was different. It was different. Here you go to some kind of festival or something they have going on. You've got a trash can, in various places. There was one trash can in this whole town square we were in, and the people we were with were family. They're like, "Oh, you want me to take care of that for you?" Because I was holding it, trying to find a trash can. Like, yeah, they took it, just threw it on the ground.
Yeah,
I'm like,
the whole city is a trash can.
Yeah, well, what it is they have
the whole city is a trash can.
It's a whole trash can.
Inmates from the local nearby prison. They brought them out to clean it up and paid them to do it. So
they have a big trash pickup detail. I mean, the city itself is not the cleanest place from what I understand, but they also do try to make sure they pick up just litter in general.
Well, so I've been to New Orleans several times in the morning. I've arrived, and every time I've gotten there, they've been hosing like vomit and stuff off the sidewalks.
Yeah.
I mean, not, like even like weekdays and stuff, not even like holidays or parties just normal days. Let's just hose the vomit off. They have trucks that do it. It's not even like somebody standing there with a hose. They just have trucks with hoses on them. They drive through and hose the sidewalk.
They also
but
they also have
they
also have a modern like bring out your dead wagon where they like pick up drunk people and they load them up in a wagon and take them to the drunk tank like throughout the night.
Bring out your dead.
So they just like literally take these blacked out people, put them in the bed of this like UTV, and like drive them downtown during I think during Mardi Gras
will
at
be
least.
Soon.
Yeah.
Do you think the same business has the puke trucks that come through the next morning and just hose everything down?
I imagine it's all the city. It's probably the city that does it.
I like to think there's some entrepreneurial individual that has made a living off of hosing vomit off the sidewalks.
Speaking of city, I don't think this happened last week, but Knoxville got hit with ransomware. Did everyone hear about that?
Hit with rain?
Ransomware.
Ransomware. No.
The city of Knoxville got hit with ransomware, and they still haven't paid it yet. So there's still like a lot of their files and stuff are locked up, but they're kind of like they're being told they're like, yeah, really the only way to get this back is to pay for it, and like I guess let the FBI track it down.
So let's touch base on that with last night. Now I think all three of you were in the game last night.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish we were streaming that. It would have been hilarious. So we're sitting here playing a game, and I get kicked out of my account, and somebody else logged in, and I'm actually at Rymar's house, and these two are these two are like, oh no, he's just pulling our leg. And Rymar's, no, he's sitting right here. He's not logged in. Yeah, these two
could be different completely on every screen. You'd never know. You put it in a wall actually.
On mine, you'd have to go like this.
Okay, but I'm recording, and so I'm pointing where it is on my screen.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, and Rymar's sitting here, chatting with this guy. It's like the guy's like, "Oh, do you know the owner?" He's like, "Yeah, the guy that created the account. Yeah, I know him. He's sitting right here."
It's nuts how I
What'd he
can't
say?
believe.
He bought it for $5.
Yeah, he bought it for $5.
It was,
So-
he said 5 USD.
5
Yeah,
USD.
Oh,
D.
USD. So he
Well,
must not
that's
be
American
in the US.
dollar.
From like
Yeah.
somewhere else.
I wonder if he had to buy it because he was region locked from being able to buy it in his country. But I'm
I mean,
pretty
that's a possibility. So
I'm pretty
here's
sure
the
it's
thing,
available
though.
everywhere. Like even in China, you can get it, right? So
here's the thing, though. There's the problem isn't the people, hacking and selling the accounts. The problem is the demand for it, because as long as people will buy gold and they'll buy accounts and they'll buy whatever else, the hackers are going to try and get it. I mean, that's just the way it is. Because if there was no demand for it, they wouldn't try and do it. Because
Yeah,
why would they?
but you never played ranked matches on your character, so it wasn't like you were a platinum or like diamond player and
That's
they
why
wanted.
that's why mine was only a $5 account.
But I don't understand why they
There's
even
probably
bothered
$50
buying. Like,
accounts too.
why do they buy your account, or like why do they bother? Because you have to level it up anyways. I guess like they get past those first like 20 levels that are the garbage to get through, as we
Maybe.
experienced.
I
but
actually did have quite a few runes and things like that.
true. I guess yeah, you do unlock some things. As
I'd
you go
unlocked
along.
quite a few things already. I'd actually spent a little bit of money to unlock things on the game. To be
I
honest with you.
wonder if they got someone with like a promotional item on their account, if they would sell it for like 50 or 100 USD, like
I'm sure they
like a
would.
rare skin or something.
Well, I wanted to know, so I Googled it.
Oh, okay.
So you can buy accounts ranging in price from like $17, which is like, this is called a perfect Smurf account. Pay no attention to my phone in my face. And then it's a level 30 account with 57,000 plus BE NA, and it's got a bunch of stuff listed for it. And then there's like another one that's like $14.50, $15, $9, $9, $9, $9, and it goes on from there. There's some that are like $35. So you are able also to pick like the tier that you purchase it from. So if you want to buy something with a diamond account or a platinum account, you can choose that, and it actually shows you. Can you see the price?
Oh,
Really
$220 for a diamond account. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's a season 10 diamond champs. There's 26 champs on the account for
But here's the
$220.
see, I actually have more than 26 champions.
Me too.
A lot more. So that might be a reason they wanted to buy my account. But I mean, here's the thing though: people actually pay for that because otherwise they wouldn't sell it. I mean, why would they try if they wouldn't invest the time if people didn't?
It's like World of Warcraft right now. Classic WoW is having a huge problem with botters on their servers. Like doing, I think one of the biggest ones is they'll like have the mages pretty much pull all the trash and like do a little exploit to where they can just farm the trash out in Zul'Grub, and pretty much people pay gold.
Yeah.
To have them get boosted through there. $1.62. Oh, we should try and find Wren's account on there again. See if it's up for sale again.
Totally
Make sure we blur the URL on that video there.
Yeah.
The URL.
Hey, by the way,
Advocating.
Grand Nizmo, you should buy that $1.64 account.
Why do we need to blur out the URL? Enlighten me.
I mean, you want to advocate?
You don't want to.
Oh, you can just Google it. I mean,
well,
wasn't that
that's
G2G anyways? That wasn't that
that's
website?
Not us,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not
Was
us providing it.
Yeah. I mean, we can just say we don't condone it. So I think that's
This is
stupid as
true.
well.
This is true.
It's against
Yeah,
terms of
don't do
service.
it.
Don't buy accounts. Terms of service.
Don't buy gold. Don't buy accounts. If you don't want to play and invest the time, then don't do it. I mean, just don't play.
Yeah, it's so weird. And like I understand a little bit more about WoW if you want to buy like, especially in classic WoW, if you want to buy like a level 60 character because you don't want to grind it all up again. I can kind of get that.
But then
And-
you're terrible.
Yeah. Well, if you were like, I guess if you played before and then you come back, you're just
No,
like,
it's
I don't
been
want to do
10
the
years.
grind.
You're still terrible.
I guess. Yeah, you probably
I
are. I
mean,
mean,
I'm
like,
sorry.
I guess it's proven that the boosted characters usually don't know how to play their class either. So
No, they
when
don't.
I came back to WoW, I felt really, really dumb because I didn't know what I was doing.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I played the exact same class, and I still had to relearn the class because it even from the time that I quit playing back in end of Lich King, early Pandaria days, it was completely different
Yeah, and
back in vanilla.
And the builds for the classes back then in Lich King and Pandaria were totally different than the way they were built when you played in
so
Classic.
you'd gotten used to, even if you remembered playing and still played now, you got used to what it is now, and you wouldn't be able to play from back then again.
You remember Blood Death Knight back in Wrath of Lich King when you could like solo most of the content?
Yeah.
As a
Yeah.
Blood Death Knight, even current content.
Well, I remember when they first came out in the Frost Death Knight, all you had to do to tank as a Frost Death Knight is spam Icy Touch because it held aggro so much. You just literally just whack that button over and over again, and that's your tank strat.
Well, see, okay, so I actually still play Classic, and so right now I had to get used to watching a threat meter again because I never had to watch a threat meter when I played retail. I mean, after vanilla,
thanking for you, Derek.
but in vanilla you still had to. But after vanilla and BC, you don't have to watch a threat meter. The tanks are good enough that they can keep threat no matter what you do. I actually have to stop DPSing to get my threat under control, and then I can start DPSing again once the tank gets more threat and I drop down on the threat meters. So it's a very different experience, and if you won't remember how to play from 10 years ago, it's just not possible.
What class do you play again, Ren?
Warlock.
Warlock, yeah. Well, I mean that's hard to get a raid spot anyways, unless you're one of the OG people.
No. Think about it.
Because you only have so many curses that they want to apply. Because you only have 10 debuffs limited. So
no. I'm not curse. I'm destruction.
I'm not talking about the spec, but like the debuffs that you can have on one particular enemy, I think is like limited to 10, right? So
16.
16.
Yes.
Yeah. So if they have, especially on Horde, because don't Shaman have a debuff as well?
But see, that's why in Classic or Vanilla you went destruction. I use DS Ruin, which is Demonic Sacrifice and Ruin. They do want Warlocks because to summon 40 people. First off, you can't carry 40 shards. I mean, you'd never have any bag space if you had that many shards. So you need multiple Warlocks to summon the 40-man raid. And since travel, there's no flights, no flying mounts. Mounts are maxed at 100% plus your trinket bonuses and stuff. So travel is extremely difficult. It takes 20 minutes to travel from one continent to the next and get to your raid unless you have a Warlock summoning. So Warlocks are actually fairly desired, especially the first part of the raid, to summon everyone.
Right. It's beyond me, to be honest with you. I quit playing Classic like 2 weeks into it because I just didn't have the time for it. But I do know currently in Retail WoW, because I look at the stream clips from Asmongold, that you can currently take on endgame content with a raid full of mages, and you can kill pretty much every boss within like a minute or 30 seconds by all of them being a fire mage. So pretty much if you just have one tank and a group of fire mages, you're able to just obliterate endgame content in seconds.
Well, I mean, the raids, obviously the ZG, there are glitches and stuff you can do to take care of everything, but actually almost any class aside from raids can take any of the end game dungeons.
This is retail I'm mentioning.
I'm retail, or I'm talking about Classic even. I've actually gone into some of the end game dungeons, 55 plus dungeons, and farmed them to get a little bit of gold.
I don't know if you caught this, but this is actually this is end game heroic content raids that they're doing this in.
Oh no,
so,
I ran heroics solo back. I mean, you had to be very careful when you did solo, but I ran heroic solo back, Lich King Pandaria, and went through and cleared them for gold.
Right.
Gold is a lot more important in Vanilla Classic than it is in later game. I mean, you can get 200,000 gold in retail in a day. And Classic, you'll never see 200,000 gold.
I keep up with the Classic drama just because Asmongold sometimes will touch on it, but the current thing people are reading about is the extra 4 bag slots that you get for adding Authenticator to your account because it wasn't a part of the actual Classic experience. Everyone's going up in arms about that.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it to encourage people to add authenticators. They're having a real problem with hackers in Classic.
Yeah, I mean, you need to watch out. It's already happened to your League of Legends account.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what? Actually, before I got back into World of Warcraft, my retail account did get hacked.
I remember that too.
But you know what?
What's up with you getting hacked?
But you know what? Because I don't use anything. I don't. I reformat my computer once. I mean, I just reformatted the computer I'm on right now. Literally at started at 5 o'clock. I was done at 6:30, and I was on League with Rymar. But yeah, I mean, it's that's just a big thing. It's a big problem. See, I'm on my World of Warcraft account enough that it would be hard for it to be hacked.
Mm-hmm.
But I go through and change my passwords, and I reformat my computers and my devices periodically so that I if I happen to get any sort of malware, and I back up everything. I keep a lot of things encrypted on Google Drive. I've got a subscription, so I've got unlimited Google Drive.
You were telling me about that just before.
Yeah.
Does it save directly to the Google Drive like OneDrive does on for Windows?
Okay, so you say directly. Directly, nothing is saved directly.
Right.
What happens is you save it. It creates a cache on your computer, a temporary file, and it
Sure.
uploads that file. Once it uploads the file, it deletes it, and you can access it and stream it from the Google Drive. But until it's uploaded, it does take up space on your computer.
Right.
So,
but it's a temporary. It's like your download folder in Windows 10. Like because
the other day, I uploaded 800 gigs of stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously that took several days. So once it finished, as it finished each file, it would delete the file. So I started off with the drive, my 1 terabyte drive that I have the cache on, fairly full, and then it just started getting more and more free space as days progressed. And now it's back down to having like 200 gigs filled up on it from installs and stuff. So it's a really neat and useful item. And then I have a few softwares that allow me to encrypt items locally and upload them to Google Drive. I upload the encrypted versions, which did get me into trouble. I had some stuff that not trouble, but I had some stuff that I lost the crypto key to, and there's nothing I can do except delete it. I mean, I just that stuff was gone.
Have you guys kept up or heard anything about the DMCA? Like they can actually now live DMCA you on Twitch for playing copyrighted music. They can take you down now, and apparently that's there's a channel that I follow called Yogscast, and they had to take down 3,600 videos because previously copyrighted music hadn't been an issue on Twitch, and so now they just took down 3,600 VODs off of Twitch, and apparently they're going to be able to have the ability to take it down your stream live if you're playing copyrighted music.
So I found this really awesome royalty-free music, by the way, on
Spotify.
Out here. Thank you. It's a playlist that someone made with a ton of loyalty-free music, and it's actually really good music
Now,
that I was playing on my stream tonight.
I heard, this may not be true, but I heard that actually streaming music through Spotify is against Spotify TOS.
Probably is.
But that's up to you to determine.
Backpedal.
I didn't find anything out about
Totally didn't do
anything. Nothing happened. I don't
mean,
know, because they always have Spotify playlists.
They do. You do have what's it called? Media playback options that you can enable on your Twitch. But what I was listening to someone say is that this is going to get so bad to the point so Drake came out and said that he has no problem with people playing his music on Twitch, but and the reality is that Drake and I don't know much about it, but a lot of musicians don't actually own the rights to their own music, which is really strange. It's their record label that owns the rights.
Right.
So even if the artist is fine with it, the record label will be like, nah, that shit ain't gonna fly here. I almost wonder if we're gonna get to a point to where you have to get a license to play the game that you're playing on stream.
Oh, we're getting there quick.
Because Nintendo did that for a while, right? Like where they said, no, you have to get with us before you do that. I think they backpedaled it, but
no, I don't think they backpedaled. I think they lost a lawsuit.
Possibly, yeah. But
That's better.
Yeah, that's even better. But it's gonna be crazy.
It's because there's so much free software that you can play on streams. Like League of Legends has this thing that says that you're allowed to play their game no matter what on stream if you want to. Same thing with Call of Duty. But yeah, I can understand what you're saying, having to have a license or a permit to play that game on a stream.
Maybe not even the permit, obviously, but imagine getting to the point to where Ninja or whoever your big streamer is at the time, take your pick, gets an exclusivity deal for Valorant, the new Riot game, right? And only him and a few other. I mean, they kind of did that with the drops, right? They only allowed people who were big streamers to play the beta and have drops enabled on their streams, right? That's where it started from. They had first access, and then you have the meme about the Warcraft being a streamer-only beta for the World of Warcraft Classic, because there's this big controversy that only the big streamers were getting beta keys for WoW Classic, which obviously wasn't the truth, but there was a big thing about that.
To that point, how's that any different from giving YouTube personalities who review games review keys? I mean,
But
it's another way to get their information out. It's just a live platform.
what the
Well, I
problem
mean,
is,
but
though, is
okay,
that
so see, but that's not even just software. That's in every industry. I mean, look at the new 3D printer, the Creality Ender 6 SE. They sent it's on Kickstarter, which is unusual for an established company, but they sent test units out to reviewers and said, "Hey, here, review this on your channel." And that they do that even for physical product. People get the physical product and get to use it, test it, maybe keep it, maybe not. Sometimes they get sent back.
Well, I mean, it works the same way with pretty much everything. One of
I
the
mean,
YouTubers,
phones,
yeah,
everything.
one of the YouTubers I
the
watch a lot just got Madden 21, which isn't even released till August, and he has he has content on his channel, him playing the game. It's like,
that might have been a bad comparison, but the where I'm getting at is like imagine having current WoW, right? And you have to sign off 5% of your stream to Blizzard to be able to play World of Warcraft. You have to pay for the license every year or per month or however the case may be, however music works, because I don't really understand how that works. That's kind of the worrisome thing in my opinion about that's kind of where they're going to get with video games
And I
and
feel like
playing
the
on
only reason that it hasn't gone that route right now is because streamers would just switch to a different game
or a different
Yeah.
platform that
or a
wasn't
different
requiring them to do
platform
that.
or
But-
whatever.
I mean, even though like let me go to Twitch right now.
I mean, I think that's going to be a quick way to kill the streaming industry. I mean, it definitely any
It didn't
new,
kill the
new
music
people.
industry though when they did it, right?
Well, no. That's because video game streams aren't the primary delivery of licensed music.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have an issue with them putting a copyright claim against someone who played someone's music that they didn't pay fees to. I mean, to me, it's not that huge of a deal, but I get it. I mean, radio stations, they have to pay stuff to put to operate the way they do. I kind of don't have an issue with it unless it's a stream specifically dedicated to playing music. That seems kind of an issue, but there's so many other solutions there to where, I mean, like you've got like Monster Cat where you can pay really not a whole lot of money and you have all this music. It's not like
And Epidemic
top
Sounds,
100
yeah.
hits, but there's some catchy stuff in there, and it should be background noise. If you're playing music on a stream, it should be background noise anyway.
And I mean, I'll be honest with you. If you're streaming game audio, music audio, I mean, why wouldn't you? They could just not use it. They don't really have to use music.
Yeah.
True.
Um,
Well, I guess it depends on what you're doing, because some people will play music in their back. Going back to Asmongold, top Warcraft streamer on Twitch. I mean, he listens to all the classic. He listens to what is it, like 3 Days Grace and maybe not that, like AC/DC. He listens to all the popular early 2090s bands on his stream, and I mean he's quit doing it now because essentially you can get taken down live on the air for it. But again, the music isn't really my big issue. My big issue is that they're going to progressively get to the point to where they allow games to do it. And like I was saying, like the top 5 categories in Twitch right now are Escape from Tarkov, which I believe is an indie developer, so they may not be on board with it. Just Chatting, so that's obviously not an issue. Call of Duty Warzone, League of Legends, and Grand Theft Auto. So you have EA, Riot Games, and Rockstar. And then after that is Fortnite, and then Counter-Strike. So then Epic Games and Steam. Those are all really big players in the video game industry, and if they all banded together like the music labels have and said, hey, we're missing our cut on this, let's start taking our cut, then yeah, maybe indie games will do a little bit better. But I mean, most of your AAA games that are being played right now, or your esport games that are being played right now, are owned by these bigger companies.
But see, here's the thing though. If they did that, what would happen is streamers and people would start using things like Patreon, things like that, to not get revenue from the game, and they would be able to bypass that.
Unless that was illegal to do as well, right? So
Well, they can't do anything about that. Patreon is a separate platform, has nothing to do with the stream.
So
it's just people donating.
What if they do what they're doing with music now and they take down your stream live? So you're playing Call of Duty, you don't have the license to play Call of Duty on Twitch or your streaming platform, and someone sees it and they take it down live on the air and they just block it.
So you're saying you wouldn't even be able to play it as a free forum?
Mm-hmm.
not even charging or getting any sort of revenue from it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, then
Because
people
the
probably wouldn't do it.
implication is that you, through your Patreon, you'd get the money, and that's their lost revenue in their eyes, or potentially in their eyes. Kind of like that's how music works. I don't know, because like I think on YouTube, if you play copyrighted music, it can get claimed, but it can also get totally taken down as well if you're using copyrighted material, region locked, or just totally taken down in general. So but they could go that far though. I mean,
But I mean, here's the thing: when new games start streaming, people aren't really making a lot of money from them, if any. And so no one's going to pay to stream a game when they're not making money from it. So,
yeah. Also, you have to think about it this way: the games make money off of people streaming, because as people are streaming, people go and see that stream and they're like, "Oh, I want to try that."
It's free advertising. I
but
mean,
is it really? Because like a lot of time people watch these streams so they don't have to experience it. Because like coming back to Asmongold and WoW, and maybe I'm totally wrong about his audience, but I imagine a lot of them don't play WoW because they watch him play WoW, because he is able to get in these 40-man raids and do mythic and do heroic and do this farm out and stuff.
That's not true at all.
I'd say they're probably more entertained by the person playing than they are of the content that they're playing.
I'm sure that's true as well.
The people that don't play WoW are watching it for him.
Imagine watching.
That do play WoW are watching it because they play WoW.
Imagine watching arena matches, right, and knowing that you're not gonna be anywhere close to that skill cap for arena matches. Or imagine watching ranked League of Legends on Twitch, though, right? So for one, you don't have either the time investment to get that good at League of Legends, so you watch that instead, and then you play a little bit of it on the side, or you just don't play at all.
But see, right there, you play a little bit of it on the side.
Sure.
And that's what you're getting at. You watch a ranked player play your favorite game character, so that you can get pointers on how, or you see how they're playing it, and play it a little bit better.
That's exactly what I've been doing.
That's exactly what I do. That's what Rymar does. That's probably what
I've done it too.
does. You know, that's what everyone does. Everyone who no one's going to sit and watch a video game that they don't play. I mean, very few people.
I usually, if it's a game I'm interested in picking up and I want to see gameplay of it, I'll check it out on Twitch.
Watch gameplay and see if you like it. Yep.
Does this look like it's fun? Okay, I've seen the highlights that the people who made it put out. Let's go see the parts in between those and see if it's worth my time playing. A lot of times I'll make purchase decisions based on that. You know.
Yeah.
This gameplay looks fun. I'm gonna get this. If I don't have that, I mean, before that, you know, back in the day, you would either rent it. Well, you can't really do that anymore. There's a few, you know,
right.
It's not a thing anymore. Or you go over to a buddy's house when he has it and watch him play. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it really is, and that's what people do now. Is they watch streams to decide if they want to purchase something, or to get tips on playing something, and that encompasses. I mean, rough estimate, at least 70% of the people watching a stream.
Well, and I mean, there probably are some that watch because they either can't play or don't want to, but they want to see someone else play it.
And that's why I said probably close to 70%. I mean,
but that's still going to bolster and increase the rankings and get it in front of people on Twitch, on Mixer, or wherever. It's going to raise it up in the rankings. It's free advertising. They want you to play their game, stream their game.
With like League of Legends, for example, people playing the games have all these skins and stuff, and that makes the people that watch them play want to go buy those skins, which is where
and when you're comparing it to the music industry, you've got to keep in mind the streaming industry has developed at the height of DRM. When the music industry was developing, if someone played something on the radio or something like that, you could just record it and play it back for yourself. There was no DRM. There's no, you know, that's not the case with streaming and with video.
The DRM back in those days were the DJ cutting in at the last bit of the song before you were expecting him to, and you accidentally record him. That was frustrating.
Yeah,
I totally never did that.
My mom just told me a story about I mean, this is like the early 80s and such, but she was saying that she used to she had a cassette recorder and put the microphone next to the radio and record the American. She's from England, so she would record the American Top 40 because they'd play it every Sunday morning, and she would listen to it all day and record it and have it on her cassette tape. So yeah.
And that's the music industry evolved before DRM. So now that the streaming industry is evolving and there is DRM, there's people can't just record something and play it back. So, you know, the DRM prevents that. restricts that. It doesn't prevent it, obviously.
Right.
So with the DRM, that's not a consideration. That's why the music industry evolved with the copy infringement and the not being able to play things, this, that, and the other. The game industry, the video industry, none of it's going to do that or I don't feel, because it's not, it's got the DRM protection. You can't.
And you gotta think too, the people who are doing these copyright claims are the creators, the people who own the rights to it. It's not exactly 1-to-1 when you get into streaming, because
it's I don't know if you guys,
those content creators are supplementing something that they're sharing with others.
I don't know if you know this or not, but actually people have made businesses out of getting with these record labels saying, hey, we will scrub in the entirety of YouTube for you and let you know when you have these, whenever your music's playing on there, and we'll copy strike it for you, and you just pay us to do it. And they made...
Well, and to Niz's point, the actual content being served for the streams isn't created by the game company. Now, they can argue some infringement with, it's our game and our characters. But I mean, there is a significant modification being applied by the streamer, and typically probably enough modification to qualify it as an independent item.
Right. Yeah.
In short, I
music's
think
different,
the
though.
game industry just relies on video reviews and streams to really do anything about it. Could they? Yeah, but I think it's going to be more detrimental than anything.
Right. I mean, think about it. The very first game company that does something like that, and you can't ever go look at any of their games. I mean, who's going to buy that game? I mean, unless
who would want them to do that? All the other game companies, their competitors.
Yeah.
It only takes one big name, though.
Oh, yeah, you guys go do that.
But it still only takes one big name. I mean, if EA decided they wanted to say, hey, you got to pay us rights, I mean, you're still going to sell a shit ton of Madden. You're still going to sell a shit ton of Call of Duty.
But it's going to be drastically reduced.
Maybe, but they also think like 10 years ahead, though. Like if we start doing it, then most people will probably fall in line with it as well. Also, I mean, they have the money to be able to push people around and do that stuff too. But I mean, it's all theory. But I mean, that's just kind of where I think that it could potentially go if people aren't careful and aren't on top of their like legislators and on top of this.
There's a lot of things that are going those types of directions, and people are just giving up little bits of time.
Facial recognition just got stopped and halted. No one wants to work on facial recognition now because it's associated with the police. So everyone just gave up on it. I imagine that will probably turn back around once everything has died down, though, because companies are greedy and there's a lot of money in facial recognition.
Or maybe they just want you to think that they've stopped on facial recognition.
Yeah, I just shortly before Google Glass was revealed, I envisioned, glasses that like had a full AR type display, and like the Facebook glasses concept thing, where it identified people that you knew or that you had friended, and brought up names. I'm terrible with names. I mean, it took me 6 months to remember Rymar's name.
It took you a little while. It wasn't that long though, because I'm a very rememberable person.
But yeah, I'm terrible with names. I mean, horrible. Something like that would be very beneficial to me. Just discreetly tells me right here, hey, that's John.
I could only imagine you going through there and you just looking at all these people. God, that'd be so creepy. Imagine seeing imagine the what is it? There's a Black Mirror episode about like your social status on there, and if you had such a low social status on there, you just were invisible to everybody else, like actually invisible. So that's very dystopian.
But I mean, that's the way things are going, really. I mean,
AR would be really cool. I could see. The only thing I don't think that would be fun about it is because advertisers are always so shitty with each other. Is like, imagine just walking around and you're looking at the Smoky Mountains and you're just seeing this vista, and all of a sudden you see this like giant Coca-Cola ad come across the mountains.
But see, all it would take is the first person to walk off a cliff because they're watching a Coca-Cola ad, and that would be done.
I don't think they would be. We can't hear you, Nizmo, by the way. I don't think that would be the case. I think that I think there'd be too much money into advertising. They would just be able to pay it off. I mean, they pay off people anyways. Like,
This is true.
Johnson and Johnson's pays off people for their baby powder causing babies cancer, and they just like yeah, a few 10,000 kids got cancer, but we made $300 billion and we had a $500 million lawsuit, so that's still a net profit for us, you know.
I mean, people walked out in front of things and off of things when they're playing Pokemon Go, and
Yeah.
that kept going. So
Yeah, there's some degree of personal responsibility you have to have, right? So
I mean, how
slap
stupid?
a warning label on
We're
it.
actually, you know what? We're getting very close to not having a degree of personal responsibility. I saw a
true.
chainsaw the other day that said, "Do not attempt to stop blade with genitalia."
Dang,
I don't know who
that's
was
exactly
I
dumb
want
enough
what
to.
I
I
was
want to know
thinking
what brand
anyway.
that is. That's what I want to know.
I have to look it up. I don't remember.
It's kind of like the scenario.
It's actually not. I say the other day. It was
So
a few
what
months.
will happen is there'll be one person that makes like bank off of it, off of getting hurt by something like that, and then you will
McDonald's
have
coffee.
yeah, that's where I was going with. There'll be one person that gets hurt with it, and then you'll have everything will just have warning labels all over it, like just so you know, you have to accept these terms of Christian services. We're not responsible if you walk off a cliff by being mesmerized by Coca-Cola ad over the Smoky Mountains or whatever. And yeah, I just don't see it being hindering
when you walk
people at
into
all.
a store, there's a button that pops up in front of your face. Do you accept
Yeah.
the terms of service of walking
Yeah.
into a store?
Pretty much.
We're not going to be held liable for you to walking into any rack, slipping on any floor.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what they already do at grocery stores. That's what the buggy sign says at the parking lot. We're not responsible for misplaced buggies. Sorry.
Damage to vehicles. Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of dystopian things, I know we are going to wrap this up soon, but I've actually brought most of the topics, so I'll open it for a moment. But I kind of thought with the AR and the VR and all that, have any of you guys seen Carbon? It's on Netflix. Carbon something or
Altered
another.
Carbon.
Altered Carbon or Upload on Amazon. Have anyone seen that?
Yeah, I've
I've
seen.
not.
Is the second season out yet?
Altered Carbon. Yeah, I already finished it.
Yeah.
I
I've binged the first one, and
Yeah.
I've been waiting for the second. I just haven't got around to watching it. But yeah,
Actually, there is another really good show that you guys need to watch. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Upload.
That's the one I just mentioned.
Yeah,
isn't
he
it?
just mentioned
that's it,
upload
Upload.
alongside
Oh.
Altered
So
Carbon,
it's
yeah.
essentially the same thing, right? So Upload is a little bit different, but essentially they upload your conscience to the cloud. And Altered Carbon, you get put onto a disc. I forget what they call it, a stack. They call it a stack, and you get
Yep.
put onto it, and you can get put into different sleeves, which are like other bodies, which is kind of like, well, I don't want to go into the spoilers with Upload. The Altered Carbon thing is like pretty essential to the whole plot for the things. I'm not too worried about mentioning that, but how would you guys feel about being uploaded to the cloud once you got to the
I
end of
want
your
an
life?
Android body.
I mean, in order to keep my consciousness intact, it would be pretty cool. But at the same time, I'm also a religious person, and I don't want to get into that.
I want an Android body. By the way,
That's
we mentioned
what I
3D
was
printing.
saying.
We mentioned 3D printing, so I had to show it. Damn it.
Put it in front of your head. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. There we go. Look at that. This is a resin 3D print.
It's Ornir.
Yep, Ornir. It's one of our friends. What's the name of the race again?
Minotaur.
Minotaur.
Minotaur. Yeah, Minotaur characters.
The only thing about that uploading yourself and all that is I don't fundamentally think that it's you after you do that. I just feel like if you get to that point where you copy someone's psyche well enough, then it's just a very convincing copy of the person that you put in there, right? I feel like you would have to hold on to the actual brain for there to be any still semblance of self, right? Or like something physical. Like you'd have, for Android in Derek's instance, you would have to put the brain inside of an Android body, I think, to
Well,
kind of
I mean, but what makes the brain though?
electrons and pulses and
So we can't right now, but
yeah.
at some point, there's a possibility we could actually replicate the brain. I should say.
So then, at what point does artificial intelligence just become intelligence?
I mean,
AI will eventually be the rulers of the world, and I look forward to our AI overlords, and I look forward to being in the Matrix at some point if we're not already.
I bow to the air.
yeah, so
I will take the red pill, or the blue one, whichever one it was. That made me stay.
So similar to what you're talking about, making copies of somebody. So let's say someone perfects that technology, and it's used as a means of teleportation. So not in a sense of they physically transfer one body to another, but rather they make a copy of that body, and the consciousness is transferred through data across the country to the receiver.
That happens in one of those shows.
All right, so
The
expand
alternative, once that's
mine real
done,
quick.
they kill the original. Would you do it?
No.
Knowing that your consciousness would be uploaded and moved to the other, but the body that you're on when you stand on is destroyed.
I think if you're going off of the
this
altered...
is available right now. I could actually 3D print one of these.
What?
Take a look at my feed.
Where do we... We're talking about artificial intelligence.
This is a robot.
Oh.
Can't see anything about a robot, Derek.
I can't see your feed, actually.
Wren, can't see anything about a robot.
I was screen sharing.
You're not.
Turn on screen share. Hold on. Turn on screen share. Share.
There it is. Although it's whacking out right now.
Yeah, you probably won't stop.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's because you're recording. Stop.
Okay. Let's turn off screen share.
Oh Lord, that hurt me.
But I don't know. It's very interesting to think about, though. I don't think that it's technically you anymore if it's empty, the body. I don't actually think it's alive either, because it has nothing moving it. There's like, essentially, if you're doing that, you stop the heart and you put it on ice, right? So it's just a shell. So I mean, like, it's already dead. You can't kill it. You can destroy it, but you can't kill it. I don't know. It's just very interesting. Like, I don't understand how the transition would work. Like, obviously, you'd have the memory, or whatever would be you would be have the memory of the transition, but would you really have the transitional memory, or would you die in the process of the transition of them copying you over to something else?
Like, at what point, is that stream of consciousness
just data and algorithms?
What happens if it malfunctions?
Yeah.
You think you don't go anywhere, but in the reality, the copy was created on the other side. You just weren't murdered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like that's very surreal. Like, I don't know how you would be able to tell. I mean, at that point, you're using the human brain to make super good AI that just acts like the person that you copied it from. I think that's I don't actually think it's possible to copy somebody into somebody else without the means of cloning, and then even cloning, you aren't even the same person because of circumstances of how you grow up. Like, a clone of you would have totally different upbringing, because obviously, I mean, even if you stuck them with the same parents, they'd have to be with the same parents at the same time. But even then,
even that will change the circumstance.
Yeah. So I mean, because one will do something because like they go through that age where they're a kid. I mean, twins obviously are a good example of that. Twins grow up much differently than the other one, and
so
they
what
will.
You're saying is we need to have time travel.
But what if you could rapid clone the body and transfer the consciousness into an empty body?
That's what we're saying though. Is like at what during the transition, is it actually you, or is it just a really good copy of you?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you define as you. If it's your consciousness, your memories, your experiences, then yes, you could do that in theory. But if you define you as some extra sensory, unobservable
a soul
quality
per se,
yes, exactly, per se. So then perhaps not, because we can't define or identify that, so we can't really transfer it.
That's where it gets very philosophical, though. I mean, I just was kind of interested what you guys thought about all that, but I would definitely take the opportunity to try it out if I could. But I kind of feel like once you do that, if you were to ever do that, you yourself would be dead on a spiritual level, and you would your face, if you will, your demeanor or whatever you want to call it, your personality would go on as a very good copy of yourself. I don't actually think you would, as your spirit or your essence would be.
There have actually been quite a few shows like regarding this or whatever, but there'll actually have to be laws in place to handle those scenarios too. What's
ethical
that one
treatment of people? Yeah,
of copies. Even.
Yeah.
I mean, what's that one Arnold Schwarzenegger's in? Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger? Where they make a copy of him and he didn't know they made a copy of him.
I don't remember that. Was it Total Recall?
Total Recall. That's it. Yep. Yeah, he goes and makes to get the dog cloned.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but sure.
You don't remember? You don't remember the movie?
No,
Do
I
you
don't.
remember the name of it?
I know
If
the name of
nothing
it.
else.
For some reason, I'm thinking of
nothing
Running Man instead of Total Recall.
No. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Total Recall.
Probably is.
If
What happened to
nothing else,
Rymar?
it'll just
Oh,
give
there he
you
is.
a existential crisis. So
Right? It just make you not be able to sleep and drive you insane.
you use it and you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad, or was it?
That whole what you said earlier though about like at what point is an AI just intelligence? There was I forgot who said it, but someone was like, if you had all the money and time in the world to do any kind of scientific project, what would you do? And it was to, I think the Russians actually did this, but they obviously, or the Germans, one of the two did it during some horrible point in war, but they take a child from their mother from birth and they keep it isolated and they see how it develops without any external forces. So like no language, no stimuli, no nothing. They just put it in a room, feed, and they leave it alone. Now obviously that's super unethical to do
That's
to
jacked up.
that's super unethical to do to an actual living being. But if you made AI intelligent enough to be a child, to develop and like developmentally a child, and then it see where it goes in its own isolation, is that just as unethical as doing it to a child because it has its own conscience at that point.
The 6th day, by the way.
The 6th day.
Because clones have to be destroyed after 5 days or whatever, and
right. But either way, the whole existential thing, I think that would be interesting to see how that would pan out. But I would not mind being uploaded to the cloud if they had a way to do it. I think I'd give it a go.
I mean, the equivalent of that right now is to freeze your head.
Yeah.
People do that. People pay millions.
It can be like
to have their head
Futurama.
frozen. Exactly. People pay millions to have their heads frozen or their whole body frozen. To
Walt
preserve
Disney.
themselves.
Walt Disney's frozen underneath Disneyland.
Yeah.
Until they find out how to cure his cancer or whatever he had. He's hooked up to the mainframe down there. That's how all these Toy Story movies get bumped out and everything. Oh man.
Captain America,
that's
Winter
why
Soldier. There's a big ass computer down there.
Yeah.
That's why they get progressively worse.
Have you seen that like really messed up TikTok animation where they say, "Hey, it was George Lucas coming to Disney." He said, "Hey, do you want to see how we make Toy Story?" And they're chasing this child around in like this box, and they put it into a tree pulper, and then they capture the soul and put it back into the tree pulper again, and then they dip a movie reel into the soul and the child blood, and said, "Oh, look, there's Toy Story 6 now." Very morbid, but it made me think of that. And George Lucas is just looking in like shock. He's like, "Ah," and it just ends there. But I thought that was funny.
Why George Lucas?
Because George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney.
I mean, yeah. But
I guess
it makes more sense if it came out around that time.
Well, it probably did, and I've just now
You've
seen
seen-
it. But
you've seen the Disney Death Star, right? It's the Death
No.
Star. It's the Death Star. With
the mouse ears, yeah.
Yeah, with the mouse ears.
Yeah, I'm sure I have. Oh man, crazy stuff. Disney's gonna own everything at some point, and everything's gonna be brought to you by a Disney Coca-Cola company, and everything will be it'll be perfect. We'll all live in harmony and underneath corporate management, and the Disney will be ran by the Walt Disney AI, and I welcome and embrace it.
Embrace your AI overlords.
There's one thing we have to talk about before we finish up. We have to decide on a name.
Yeah.
So
You have to decide on a name.
Crit Fail was one of my choices. I didn't see anyone else had anything else in there. So we got Crit Fail, Critical Fail.
What do you mean was one of your choices? I suggested it on the stream last time.
That was like I agreed, like, as in I agree with
okay,
you.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
So we got Crit Fail, Critical Fail, Critical Failure, Nat1Nerds, Nat20Nerds, Nerd Force, BT and Double D's.
Wait, what?
So I feel like Nerd Force is borderline encroaching on,
So there's already
Encroaching
a
on
Crit
what?
Fail podcast, just an FYI.
there's already what?
Crit Fail podcast.
There's multiple Nat20 podcasts too, though. Like they have that IP name. I think that isn't that big of a deal, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a copyright lawyer, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah, Nerd Force sounds familiar.
There's a podcast called Triforce, which is a pun on the Triforce from Zelda.
Oh, yeah, no, there's a company called Nerd Force. That name is actually copyrighted.
What about Nerdgasm?
Nerdgasm?
That's probably trademarked.
Yeah. I like Nat1Nerds, Crit Fail,
Nat1Nerds is pretty good.
and Critical Fail. Or Critical Failure. I like those 4.
I think we should go with Critical Failure and just shorten it sometimes to Crit Fail if we need to.
Yeah. I'm kind of in agreement to that.
What was the what's the one Critical Role? Isn't Critical Failure a little too? I mean, I know Crit Fail is too, but Critical Failure is even closer to Critical Role than.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, you already know I am tried and true crit
I'm
I'm
more
a fan too, but
I'm more leaning toward Nat1Nerds.
yeah, I think we probably should do Nat1Nerds.
What do you think, Tyler?
It kind of has a good ring to it, I think.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue
I think
really
it
well.
rolls off the tongue a little bit better than Critical Failure. Like Critical Failure is a little too
Crit
long.
Fail.
Crit Fail is a little too short.
And
I don't
Critical
know.
Fail. I mean,
I like Nat1Nerds.
Nat1Nerds. All right, you heard it here, folks. Nat1Nerds is what the podcast will be called from now on.
So I do want to plug real quick. So, like Wren was saying, we did play a few League games tonight. We did also stream them. I had no viewers except for Wren himself.
And once I started viewing, you're like, hey, why don't you just get on and play with me? It's like, okay, sure, whatever.
Pretty much, yeah. So I do want to plug that because I'd like for that to start actually, like, people to start watching the stream. Also, I am going to post some videos of stuff that I've streamed onto YouTube. I did record part of our stream tonight. I'm going to put it on YouTube in the next few days. I'm going to look at it and make sure there's nothing stupid in there because I say stupid stuff all the time. I might just leave it. Never know. And I'm going to post it as soon as I can. I just created a YouTube account. And my YouTube account is Rymar865. So go subscribe, like.
Go check them out. Link below.
I'm actually going to do the same. I do a lot of 3D printing and stuff. I'm probably going to post some time lapses. Possibly do a couple of videos on some of my 3D printers. I currently have 3 functional 3D printers and a couple more that I am kind of project printers right now.
Did you ever? Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Did you ever do Project Face Shield with them? Did you do any of that?
I did not.
No.
I honestly wouldn't have even known where to send the shields if I had printed them. And honestly, it's do what?
You printed your own face shield, though.
No, I printed a respirator face mask. That is a very different. And actually, I just printed one for my daughter because she asked for one. So here's hers.
Hold on, I'm gonna focus on you real quick.
A little bit small for me.
There we go.
Are you printing those out of a softer material than
That's cool.
PLA?
Well, if you look at the back of it here, so the back of it is TPU, which is not soft, but it is softer than.
Wait, so that part's printed as well?
Yes, this is all.
Oh,
printed.
That's so cool.
This whole thing is printed. This is printed out of TPU. There are softer materials, Ninja Flex, for instance, and then this part actually. So the first one I printed this front part out of PLA. So there's an insert here in the back. If you look, get it right here. There's an insert in the back that holds in the filter. So it's a replaceable filter.
What's the filter?
It's actually a mask. I took one of those masks that go like this and like over your ears. They're about 5%. They're about 5% efficient.
So you can get 3 out of one mask, pretty much.
2, because they're actually my daughters could probably get 3. Yeah. Mine gets 2.
Right.
But anyway, so I took that and you just cut the mask and stick it in here and clip it in place, and then you can wear it. Whenever you feel the need, you replace the filter. But what I was saying is this part, I printed the first one out of PLA, and this part, this insert, since it's thin, I had problems in the car. I have a black car with it warping. because PLA actually has a glass transition temperature, which is essentially a softening temperature of 70 degrees Celsius. And a black car is going to get 130 to 150 degrees in the summer. So I reprinted it, and I printed my daughter's as well out of ABS plastic. Now, ABS is much more difficult to print. It should be printed in an enclosed printer because it needs to stay hot the entire time. Or not hot, warm, 80 degrees or so Celsius.
Not to mention the toxic fumes that come off of it.
True. So it is much harder to print. Well, toxic fumes come off of everything. I mean,
yeah, but
your
ABS
your computer is outputting toxic fumes. I mean,
yeah, but those smell good.
A couple months ago,
I don't think the taco salad. I don't think the taco salad I had any toxic fumes coming off it.
It probably did, actually.
But it made
it will later.
It might make some, but it didn't have any on it.
Did they have any? Did they use all BPA free plastics? Probably not, because the Taco Bell is probably more than a few years old.
Oh no, this is something I made at the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Boom, BPA'd.
Yeah.
so it could be BPA free.
Yeah, it's all ceramics here.
Did you
high class shit over here?
High class. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mac and cheese I made earlier didn't have any fumes.
Yeah.
If it was from a box,
really
it was
wrong
mostly
about
plastic
that.
anyway.
First off. Okay, let's not get into that because it's kind of gross.
Right. Speaking of Twitch and all that you guys were just talking about, well, first of all, Nizmo, do you have anything are you planning on doing anything soon, or kind of playing as you go?
It's still to be determined. I've got a few things in the work, but nothing I'm ready to make announcements on yet.
Mine would be if anyone is interested, it's WhiskeyTenn, twitchtv.com/WhiskeyTenn.
You mean twitch.tv?
Yeah, that's what it is exactly.
Something like that. I mean,
and then my YouTube channel, I think, is linked on my Twitch if it is, and then it'll be down below because I can't remember what my YouTube channel is called. So thank you for tuning in to the second episode of Nat1Nerds, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye, all.
Bye, everyone.
See you.